What if the very ingredients you use to make food taste better are the same ingredients quietly wearing out your kidneys? Not a rare poison, not something locked away in a laboratory. I am talking about the white crystals, sweet syrups, soft powders, and hidden additives that enter millions of kitchens every single day looking completely normal. And here is the disturbing part. Some of them do not hurt you all at once. They do it slowly, silently, and so consistently that by the time many people realize something is wrong, the kidneys have already been under pressure for years. I want to talk to you clearly, simply, and honestly about the kitchen ingredients that may be damaging your kidneys without making a sound. No confusing jargon, no dramatic myths. Just the truth explained in a way that makes sense. Because one of these ingredients is probably in your breakfast, another is in your pantry right now, and the one I consider the most dangerous is often the one people defend the most. So stay with me, because by the end of this video, you will know what these ingredients are, why they are so harmful, and most importantly, what to do about them before they write the next chapter of your health story for you. Thank you for being here. When people think about protecting their health, they usually think about the heart, the brain, or maybe their joints. The kidneys rarely get that same attention. And that is a mistake. Your kidneys are among the hardest working organs in your body. Every hour of the day, they are filtering your blood, removing waste, balancing fluids, helping control blood pressure, supporting healthy red blood cell production, and keeping vital minerals in a safe range. In other words, they are not just cleaning organs, they are regulators, they are managers, they are the quiet technicians behind the scenes, making sure the whole system keeps running. The problem is that kidneys do not complain loudly in the beginning. They do not usually sound an alarm the way a toothache does or a back spasm does. Kidney damage often develops like a crack in a foundation. It starts small. You do not notice it. Life goes on. And then one day the signs begin to show up in ways people never connect to the kidneys at first. Swelling, rising blood pressure, unusual fatigue, changes in urination, blood sugar problems, a lab result that suddenly changes everything. That is why I care so much about prevention. Because once kidney function is significantly reduced, getting back to where you were is not always possible. And as the years go by, this matters even more. Your kidneys, like the rest of your body, do not keep the same reserve forever. Think of them like a high-performance filtration system that has been working non-stop for decades. If you protect it, it can serve you beautifully for a very long time. But if every single day you flood it with pressure, sugar surges, chemical additives, and inflammatory foods, that wear and tear accumulates. It is rarely one giant event. It is the daily drip, the repeated burden, the tiny insults that keep happening until one day the system can no longer compensate. That is why the kitchen matters so much. Because the path to kidney trouble often runs straight through common habits, common products, and common ingredients. And many of them do not just affect the kidneys directly, they also raise blood pressure, worsen insulin resistance, promote weight gain, disturb fluid balance, and increase the risk of diabetes, which remains one of the leading reasons people lose kidney function in the first place. So when we talk about these ingredients, we are not talking about abstract nutrition theory. We are talking about real forces that shape what happens inside your body every day. To make this simple, I want to walk you through 4 ingredients or ingredient groups that deserve much more caution than they usually get. We will start with the one most people never notice on a label, and we will move step by step toward the one I believe causes the broadest damage because it attacks the kidneys from several directions at once. By the time we reach number 1, you will understand why so many people think they are eating normally while their kidneys are paying the price. Let's begin. Ingredient number 4, phosphate additives, the hidden boosters your kidneys never asked for. This is the one almost nobody talks about at the dinner table, yet it is everywhere in the modern food supply. I am talking about phosphate additives, the ingredients that often hide in processed foods under names containing the word phos. You may see them in processed cheese, deli meats, fast-cooked baked goods, packaged desserts, cola drinks, flavored powders, frozen meals, and many convenience foods designed to last longer, look better, or feel smoother in the mouth. Most people are not searching for them. Most people do not even know they are there. Why do they matter? Because phosphorus is a mineral your body needs in the right amount, but the source matters. When phosphorus comes naturally packaged in whole foods, your body does not absorb all of it in the same way. But the phosphate additives used in heavily processed foods are often absorbed much more efficiently. That means your body gets hit with more of it faster, and your kidneys have to work harder to keep that mineral balance under control. Imagine inviting a few guests into your home. That is manageable. Now imagine the back door is opened and a crowd rushes in all at once. That is the difference between a modest amount of naturally occurring phosphorus in real food and the concentrated, highly absorbable kind hidden inside many processed products. When this becomes a daily pattern, it can be especially problematic for people whose kidneys are already under strain. And even before clear kidney disease is diagnosed, a high phosphorus load is not something to treat casually. What makes this ingredient so deceptive is that it does not announce itself with a salty taste or a sweet taste. It hides behind convenience. A slice of processed cheese here, a packaged meat there, a boxed dessert mix, a flavored bottled drink. A quick meal because you are tired and busy. No single item seems dramatic. But remember what I told you earlier. The kidneys are affected by repeated pressure, not just obvious excess. And phosphate additives are part of that modern pattern of repeated burden. So what do? First, become an ingredient list detective. Start scanning labels for words like phosphate, phosphoric acid, pyrophosphate, or anything with that phos signal. Second, do not panic if you see it once. The goal is not perfection. The goal is frequency. If these foods show up every now and then, that is different from relying on them daily. Third, shift more of your meals toward foods that do not need this chemical support in the first place. Eggs, beans, plain yogurt, vegetables, oats, fish, fruit, lentils, and minimally processed foods make life easier for your kidneys because the food arrives in a more natural package. The less your plate depends on industrial shortcuts, the less your kidneys have to deal with their consequences. Ingredient number 3, refined flour, the soft white powder that behaves more aggressively than people think. Now this one may surprise some people because refined flour does not look dangerous. It looks comforting. It looks familiar. Bread, crackers, white pasta, pastries, sweet breakfast cereals, bakery snacks, instant noodles, pizza dough, cookies. For many households, refined flour is not occasional. It is constant. It is in breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks in between. That is exactly why it deserves our attention. Let me be clear. I am not saying that a single piece of white toast destroys your kidneys. Nutrition is not that simplistic. The real problem is the pattern created by frequent refined carbohydrate intake. Refined flour has had much of its natural fiber and structure removed. So once you eat it, your body can break it down quickly, and that means it can act a lot like a rapid sugar delivery system. Blood sugar rises fast. Insulin has to respond. Hunger returns sooner. Cravings show up again. And over time, when this cycle repeats day after day, it can contribute to weight gain, worsening blood sugar control, insulin resistance, and eventually type 2 diabetes in susceptible people. And this is where the kidney story becomes serious. The kidneys are filled with tiny, delicate filtering structures. They are not built to enjoy years of high blood sugar and metabolic chaos. When glucose stays elevated too often, those delicate filters can begin to suffer. The vessels feeding them can be injured. The pressure inside those microscopic units can change. The structure that should act like a precise sieve starts losing its precision. This is one reason diabetes has such a powerful connection to kidney disease. I often tell people to think of refined flour as paper thrown into a fire. One sheet may not look dramatic, but if you keep feeding the flame every day, eventually the whole room gets hotter. Refined flour is not usually acting alone. It tends to travel with added sugars, sodium, and unhealthy fats. That is why so many ultra-processed foods create such a perfect storm. They are engineered for taste and convenience, but physiologically, they push the body toward the exact conditions that kidneys hate most. The hardest part is that refined flour is often mistaken for harmlessness because it is so ordinary. A bagel in the morning, crackers in the afternoon, white pasta at dinner, something sweet at night. None of it feels extreme, but health damage rarely needs to feel extreme to become real. It only needs to become routine. The solution is not to fear carbohydrates. The solution is to choose them more intelligently, move closer to whole forms, rolled oats instead of sugary pastries, beans or lentils more often, brown rice, quinoa, or real whole grains instead of refined staples every single day. If you do eat bread or pasta, let them be part of a meal with fiber, protein, and healthy fats, so the glucose rise is slower and gentler. And most importantly, stop letting refined flour dominate the plate. It should not be the foundation of nearly every meal. When you reduce that constant metabolic pressure, your kidneys benefit along with your waistline, your energy, and your blood sugar. Ingredient number 2, sodium, the ingredient that raises pressure where your kidneys are most fragile. Now we come to the one many people think they understand, but most still underestimate: sodium, or in practical everyday terms, salt and the sodium hidden inside packaged food. The reason this ingredient is so dangerous for kidney health is simple. It changes fluid balance and blood pressure, and your kidneys are at the center of both. Here is the misunderstanding I hear all the time. I do not use much salt, doctor. And then I ask what they eat in a normal week. Bread, deli meat, canned soup, bottled sauces, frozen meals, restaurant food, savory snacks, seasoning packets, instant noodles, cheese, crackers, and there it is. Most people are not overloading sodium because they are aggressively shaking salt onto everything. They are getting it through foods that were salted long before they brought them home. Think of your blood vessels like a plumbing system and your kidneys like pressure-sensitive filters connected to that system. When sodium intake stays too high, the body tends to hold on to more water. More fluid means more volume moving through the pipes. More volume means more pressure. And when that pressure stays elevated, the tiny filtering units in the kidneys take the hit. It is like washing delicate fabric with a pressure washer. The material was never meant for that kind of force. This is why high blood pressure and kidney trouble are so closely linked. High pressure damages the kidneys, and damaged kidneys can make blood pressure harder to control. It becomes a vicious loop, and sodium is one of the most common fuels feeding that loop. On top of that, in people who already have kidney stress, too much sodium can also make it harder to control protein leakage into the urine, which is another sign that the filters are under strain. What makes sodium especially dangerous is that taste is a liar. Some foods that do not even taste very salty can still deliver a heavy sodium load. Bread, breakfast items, sauces, condiments, packaged wraps, even foods marketed as healthy can be surprisingly high. So if you are judging only with your tongue, you are missing the real picture. The answer is not bland misery. The answer is awareness and better strategy. First, start reading nutrition labels and comparing brands. The difference between two similar products can be enormous. Second, cook more meals at home when you can, because control is protection. Third, be smart with canned foods and packaged items. Rinsing certain canned foods can help reduce some of the sodium burden. Fourth, build flavor in other ways. Garlic, onion, pepper, lemon, vinegar, herbs, smoked paprika, cumin, chili, rosemary, thyme. Your mouth can learn a new normal, and once it does, the old overly salty foods begin to taste excessive. That change is not punishment, it is liberation. And now we arrive at ingredient number 1, the one I consider the most destructive when it becomes a regular part of the diet. Added sugar, especially in its liquid and highly processed forms, the sweet ingredient that attacks from every angle. If sodium damages the kidneys by driving pressure, added sugar often does something even more dangerous. It attacks the system from several directions at once. This is why I place it at number 1. Because it is not just a sweetness issue, it is a metabolic issue, a vascular issue, a liver issue, a weight issue, and ultimately a kidney issue. When most people hear the word sugar, they think dessert, but the real problem goes far beyond cake. Added sugar hides in sweetened coffee drinks, soda, fruit-flavored beverages, sauces, breakfast cereals, flavored yogurt, granola bars, packaged breads, dressings, ketchup, snack foods, and so-called health products that wear a clean image on the front and deliver a sugar surge on the inside. And some of the most aggressive forms come in liquid calories, where the body receives a fast hit without much satiety in return. Why is this so damaging? First, repeated high sugar intake pushes blood glucose and insulin in the wrong direction. Over time, that can help drive insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes, one of the leading causes of chronic kidney disease. When blood sugar remains elevated too often, kidney filters and blood vessels can be injured. The kidneys stop working in a calm, orderly environment and start working in a storm. Second, certain added sugars, especially fructose-heavy sweeteners, have effects that go beyond simple calories. High intake can promote fat buildup in the liver, worsen insulin resistance, and contribute to higher blood pressure. It can also raise uric acid, which is another reason sugar is not just a weight gain issue. It has wider metabolic consequences. In other words, sugar does not merely add sweetness to food. In excess, it can add stress to multiple organs at the same time. Third, added sugar often comes wrapped inside ultra-processed foods that also contain sodium, refined flour, and additives. So the danger is multiplied. It is not a solo instrument. It is part of a damaging orchestra. Studies looking at heavily processed food patterns have found higher risk of chronic kidney disease among those eating the most of these foods. That should get everyone's attention, because it means this is not about one occasional treat. It is about a daily dietary pattern that gradually reshapes the body in harmful ways. And let me say something important here. The body does not react to an apple the same way it reacts to a soda. Whole fruit comes with fiber, structure, water, and a slower pace. A sugary drink is a shortcut. It is a flood without the brakes. That is why beverages are such a powerful place to intervene. For many people, the single most effective step they can take for metabolic and kidney health is to stop drinking their sugar. I want you to picture your kidneys as a pair of fine mesh filters under a constant stream. They are designed to manage normal, balanced flow. But if every day the stream becomes thicker, sweeter, more pressurized, and more inflammatory, those filters begin to pay for it, not dramatically in a week, quietly over years. That is how the damage wins. It does not need fireworks. It just needs routine. So what do? First, attack liquid sugar immediately. Soda, sweet tea, energy drinks, sweetened coffees, bottled juices with lots of added sugar, dessert drinks. Removing these can change your health trajectory faster than people expect. Second, read labels with a suspicious mind. Sugar has many disguises: syrup, cane juice, fructose, dextrose, maltose, concentrate. Different names, same burden. Third, choose plain versions when possible. Plain yogurt instead of flavored. Oatmeal without added sweetness, then add berries or cinnamon yourself. Fourth, rebuild your taste. If your palate is used to intense sweetness, natural foods will seem dull at first. Give it a few weeks. The reset is real. Once it happens, many processed products start tasting unnaturally sweet. And finally, remember this: the most dangerous sugar habit is not celebration food. It is the casual daily sugar people no longer notice. The sweet drink with lunch, the syrup in coffee, the sugary cereal marketed as normal breakfast, the snack bar pretending to be health food. That is where the story is often written. So let's step back and look at the full picture. Today, we uncovered 4 kitchen ingredients that can quietly push your kidneys in the wrong direction. Number 4, phosphate additives. The hidden faux chemicals that overload convenience foods and make processed products harder on the body. Number 3, refined flour, which may look soft and harmless, but often behaves like a fast glucose delivery system when it becomes a daily staple. Number 2, sodium, the pressure-raising ingredient that harms the kidneys by helping drive fluid retention and high blood pressure. And number 1, added sugar, especially in liquid and heavily processed forms, the ingredient that can disturb blood sugar, blood pressure, liver metabolism, weight, and kidney function all at once. Now, if you are feeling a little overwhelmed, that is understandable. But I do not want you to leave this video with fear. I want you to leave with clarity. Because kidney protection does not begin with perfection. It begins with recognition. You do not need to throw away your entire kitchen tonight. You do not need to become obsessive. You need to become aware. You need to notice patterns. You need to stop letting normality fool you into thinking harmlessness. Choose one place to begin. Maybe it is replacing sweet drinks with water or unsweetened tea. Maybe it is reading labels for sodium. Maybe it is choosing fewer ultra-processed foods and more real ingredients. Maybe it is looking for those FOS additives for the first time in your life. Start there. One deliberate step today is infinitely more powerful than vague guilt tomorrow. Your kidneys serve you every minute without applause. They clean, balance, regulate, and protect. The least we can do is stop making their job harder than it already is. If this video opened your eyes, share it with someone you love, a parent, a sibling, a friend who thinks kidney disease only happens to other people. And if you want more simple, science-based guidance on health, nutrition, longevity, and protecting your body before problems become diagnoses, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these ingredients shocked you the most? Which one do you think is most common in your kitchen right now? Leave it in the comments, because your answer may help someone else wake up too. Thank you for spending these minutes on the most important investment you will ever make, your health. Protect your kidneys, and you protect far more than 2 organs. You protect your energy, your resilience, and the quality of the years ahead. Take care, and I will see you in the next video.